Set 6.5 should be out soon, so as usual, I made a quick video on the early game meta for this set. In the current set, there are 4 main ways to play. You could either win streak, you could have a YORDLES or Econ opener, you could have a MERC opener, or you could play a reroll comp. If you don't get any of these 4, then you're just playing for a top 4. In this video, I'm mainly going to be talking about these first 3. So before I jump straight into the early game boards, I wanted to talk a little bit about the late game itemization first because I think it'll be pretty helpful. In the last set, all the AD carries mostly use Runaan's and Last Whisper, but in this set it's going to be a little bit different because they removed Urgot and Yone. In fact, a lot of the AD carries will use Last Whisper and IE instead. So in general, for your early and mid game, you want to try your best to flex around Last Whisper and IE as opposed to Runaan. But if you're forced to make Runaan's, you could still flex into it. It's just that your options are going to be a bit more limited late game. For the AP flex itemizations, it's pretty similar to last set. It's just that Ari replaced Lux this set, so if you have blue buff, you want to flex into Ari or Silco. The Shojin and Chalice stacking comp still exists, where you just flex around Seraphine and Orianna. And the Morello Shiv is still very, very strong, and you can flex into both Kaisa and Renata. So in general, if you're trying to play around AP, these are the items you want to look for and play around. And these are going to be the units that are going to be holding your items. So the first strong AD board you could play revolves around the new Synergy HEXTECH. In this board, you're just going to be playing 4 HEXTECH with Nocturne as your item holder. One very common variation you could play is to play around Ziggs and Echo. This gives you Scrap, Arcanist, and Assassin as well. Later on, once Nocturne gets outscaled, you could probably replace him with Lucian because he's a HEXTECH as well, and he could also hold these AD items. If you're playing Lucian, then some units you want to tech in are probably REKSAI and Gangplank. This is going to give you Bruiser, Striker, and Twin Shot, which is really, really strong. Alternatively, if you hit 2-star REKSAI, you could put your AD items on REKSAI as well and play around him. Usually, if you get an early and mid game board like these, you're probably going to be playing around Irelia and Sivir late game. So another early game board you can play revolves around playing 3 Syndicate with Ashe as your item holder. This board is just going to revolve around Darius, Zyra, Ashe, and Caitlyn. If you get a lot of Ashes and Zyras, you could consider playing around reroll Ashe and Zyra and use slow roll at level 5. Otherwise, you just play a standard level 6 board and throw in Cassin and Poppy for a very strong frontline. Another variation to this is you could probably play 5 Syndicate as well if you high roll and get a Braum and Morgana. One thing to note is that if you're playing 5 Syndicate and you're not playing Ashe reroll, you almost always have to pivot out because this set, Syndicate late game, is a lot weaker than last set because they removed the Kali. If you don't pivot out, you're eventually going to get outscaled. With this setup, I think the most common way to pivot out would be to play Jhin because you already have 2 bodyguards and you're already playing snipers, so pivoting into Jhin would be very, very easy. So next up is going to be Innovators. You guys are probably pretty familiar with how to play this by now, but the one point I want to really stress is that you only want to commit onto this early game board if you have 2-star Singe and 2-star Ezreal. If you don't have these 2 units, you're going to lose every single fight and you're going to bot 4. But if you hit the 2-star Singe and the 2-star Ezreal, this board is really, really strong and it could scale you all the way until stage 5. Some variations to this are going to be playing around 4 Scrap. So in this set, they made Echo an Innovator as well. And because Ezreal and Echo are both Innovator and Scrap units, you're highly encouraged to play Scrap in your comp. Alternatively, if you hit 5 Innovators, you could play 5 Innovators as well, and this board is really, really strong. One thing to note is that the mid game for Innovator, in my opinion, got a little bit weaker because they removed Heimerdinger. Because they removed Heimerdinger, you lost the ability to play Innovator with Yordle, so you lost that extra econ you could make. And you also lost the ability to flex into an AP comp, because by the time you get Seraphine, it's already too late. It's going to be stage 4. Heimer was good because it let Innovators hold AP items and flex into an AP comp really, really easily if you hit it. So one very strong early game AD board revolves around CHEMTECH. You play Twitch as your item holder and you're going to play Camille, Warwick, and Singed. If you get a lot of these 1-cost units early, you could potentially play Twitch reroll. Twitch reroll is actually even stronger this set because Echo is now an Innovator as well. But if you choose not to play Twitch reroll, at level 6, you could probably just play a board like this. Another variation to this board is playing 5 CHEMTECH and 4 Challenger instead. In which case, if you hit a 2-star TRYNDAMERE, you could move your Twitch items onto your TRYNDAMERE and that'll be even stronger. And the 4th variation is going to be playing around 4 Challenger with TRYNDAMERE carry, with Zilean for the extra clockwork and Zek for the extra CHEMTECH. So finally, I'll just talk about the Bruiser opener. So in this set, they removed Trundle, which was one of the best AD item holders in the game. But now they added REKSAI, and REKSAI is actually also pretty good. So if you get REKSAI, you could hold your AD items and play for a Bruiser. And one variation you could play is to just play Caitlyn and Gnar for 2 strikers and 2 enforcers. Alternatively, for some backline access, you could play Nocturne and Echo. This lets you hold Morello and gives you 2 HEXTECH and 2 Assassin. If you happen to find the Sivir, you could play 4 HEXTECH and 4 Striker, and then you can move your items from REKSAI over onto Sivir, and this is a very easy transition into Sivir and Irelia. So now I'm going to talk about the AP early game boards. The AP early game boards are a little more complex to play because there are a lot of different variations, and your late game board is going to depend on what items you slam. So one common early game board revolves around having CORKI as your item holder with Poppy, Blitzcrank, and Ziggs. This is a pretty big indicator that you're going to be playing RE late game. Alternatively, you could also play around Malzahar instead, and then if you're playing Malzahar, you could play 4 Arcanists because you could just play Swain and Vex while maintaining 3 Yordles. So Malzahar is the most flexible AP item holder in the game for AP. He could hold Morello Archangels. This is an easy transition into Kaisa or Renata. If you get a lot of Chalices and Shojin, you could play around Orianna Seraphine. And Malzahar is also really good at holding blue buff, JG, and IE. And then from this, you just play into Vertical Arcanist and move these items onto RE. If you're playing around Yordles, you're most likely going to be playing into AP, but Yordles could also hold AD items as well. For example, since CORKI is a twin shot now, you could stack all your AD items on a second twin shot like Gangplank or Lucian. One side note is that Lucian is also pretty good at holding blue buff and Morello if you have those items. So if you don't hit the Malzahar, you could also play Lucian with CORKI as a second twin shot. And finally, you could also have Gnar hold your AD items as well. If you're playing Gnar, you want a second striker like REKSAI, and then you could just round out your synergies with Blitz. Getting Yordles early ramps up your leveling curve by a little bit. So instead of going level 8 on stage 4 or 5, usually you could go 8 on 4-2 instead and roll down. So another way you could get to the AP boards late game is by playing Debonair, which is a new synergy this set. So Debonair early game has access to both Brand and Syndra. Brand likes blue buff a lot, while Syndra likes Shojin, and the other 2 items could just be flex, both AP damage items. So when you're playing the Debonair board, you almost always want to play Kassadin and Leona because you're lacking a frontline. This gives you 3 Debonair and 2 Scholar, and Kassadin is a really broken unit now because they changed him recently. He is now a Scholar, and he gets a Protector shield now from his built-in skill instead of from the Protector trait. One very common variation you could play at level 6 is to splash in a Blitzcrank and a Ziggs. This gives you 2 Bodyguard and 2 Scrap and 2 Arcanists. Depending on your items and whether you're stacking Brand or Syndra, you could flex into Arcanist, you could flex into a legendary board, you could flex into Orianna Seraphine. And then another variation you could play is to play around 4 Arcanists with 3 Debonair. This requires you hitting a Vex and a Malzahar. From this spot, you're usually going to be stacking Brand, but you can move the items over onto Malzahar. And from this point on, it's an easy pivot into Vertical Arcanist, and you want to stack RE later. So finally, I'm going to be talking about how to play Mercenaries. There's 2 ways you can play Mercenaries. The first way you can play is the easy way. It's Winstreak Mercs. You play this variation of Mercs if your board is really strong and you have 3 Mercs in. So let's say, for example, you hit 2-star Alawi, Quinn, Gangplank, and you have 2-star Sejuani. You could look towards playing Winstreak Mercs and view Mercs as a secondary source of income. Usually, you're not going to be able to win every single fight. You might go win, lose, win. But because you have this 3 loss here, and because your board is actually decently strong, you're guaranteed to cash out because there's usually always one guy that's super weak in the lobby. So winning here would already be worth it because you get this 3 loss cash out. So the other way to play Mercs, and the more fun way in my opinion, is Loose Streak Mercs. You only want to play Loose Streak Mercs if you get 3 Mercs before stage 2-5. If you get it any later, your reward from the cash out is not going to be good enough to win you the game. So you need to hit 3 Mercs before stage 2-5 to even attempt to do this. The strategy for this is you want to make sure that your board is just a little bit weaker than the weakest guy in the lobby. And usually that means you have to open fort and only play these 3 units, even if you're level 4. After the minion round, you could scout around and see if you could slam items to save HP. And your level 5 board ideally would look something like this. You have Alawi, Sejuani, Quinn, Misfortune, and Caitlyn. This is a pretty decent board. Just make sure that your board is not too strong or you're going to ruin your game. So usually you want to go level 6 at 3-2. Go level 7 at 3-5, and then at this point, you want to make a judgment call. If you're already on an 8 lose streak and you got a really good reward on your chest, you just try and cash out at stage 3-6, because that reward alone is usually enough to win you the game. You usually want to cash out with around 2 lives remaining. If you still have around 40 HP, you could be a little bit more greedy and go level 8 at 4-2 and try to cash there instead. Cashing out at stage 4-2 at level 8 pretty much guarantees you the win, but it's a lot more risky because you have a higher chance of going 8th. So again, to reiterate, at stage 3-5, look at your HP, look at your rewards, look at your board, and decide on whether or not you want to cash out at 3-5, 3-6, or 4-2. So you might be wondering how to cash out in set 6.5. I prepared a few boards for you to look at. So one way you could cash out is by rolling down at level 7 for 2-star Bruisers and a 2-star Misfortune with these AP items. Another way you could cash out is through TRYNDAMERE. In set 6.5, it's really easy to tech in for Challenger with 3 Mercs, and TRYNDAMERE right now is really strong if you 2-star him. Finally, if you hit 2-star Gangplank or 2-star Lucian, you could also try and cash out with them with AD items. And then after you cash out with either of these 3 boards, just pivot your board into a standard level 8 board at stage 4-2 and win out. So this pretty much sums up my set 6.5 early game guide. I didn't release a late game flex guide yet because right now I don't think there's a point to, because the set is just coming out and the meta is going to change really quickly. But I think that the early game will generally be the same, which is why I released this video. I'll probably release a late game flex guide in about a week when the meta stabilizes. So if you're interested, please subscribe to my channel and look out for updates. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.